me DMing. I've just realised I've left the trigger warning on, so I will turn that off. So this is my game. Excuse the sneezing in the background. Will be running today, and I will let the players introduce themselves. Sam, our barbarian Nico, will be absent this evening. He has plans with family. So everyone else, age order. Enjoy. From oldest to youngest.
Right,
Yeah, I'm wondering how this will work though, Becca. I feel this is like leave the quizzes for the game, not before the game.
Okay, just go from bottom to top. Jesus, boring people.
Boring. We don't know each other's name, ages. Anyways, hi guys, Azuzu. I'm playing Ishida. Yuichi, the astral monk.
Greetings, folks. I'm Scott, and I'm playing Russell Leaves, the Furball Druid.
I'm the other Scott, and you'll be seeing shortly.
I'm Traz, and I'm playing Draxus, the Gemstone Dragonborn Wizard.
I'm Colin, and tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be leading us to Triton Life Credit.
And I believe Azuzu opted to do our recap this week.
Yeah, seems I've been ducking the recap for about 3 weeks now for different sessions. So last week in the world of Christina, the party Christiana, the party navigated their way to Jane Eyre's underground base, which was where the party hoped to get some information about what is happening in the town with regards to the missing children. Most of the party managed to kind of get through some of the puzzles. It was a very densely packed place with traps and everything, so it was a lot of kind of going carefully and slowly around, making sure they don't get trapped or attacked without being prepared. But as with everything, nothing goes according to plan. And there was a particular room where the party was standing, and when they transitioned to the next room, only Ishida had left the room to get to the next room, and there was a button there. Following some conversation with Drax pressed the button, which meant that the room then shifted back to its original position, separating the party from Ishida and throwing the party downstairs onto the next level. Ishida was left alone with Drax's Wyvern left to fend for himself and explore part of the dungeon by himself. Downstairs, the party were faced with a puzzle of having to address 4 different rooms that required 4 different approaches. One of the rooms was filled with zombies, the other room was filled with a water dragon, if I remember correctly, or some form of water.
Water weird.
Yeah. And the third room had a bear in it. The party made quick do of the situation and eventually recruited the bear as a new member of the party. Upstairs, Ishida found himself coming onto a room with a guard captain and his aide, scavenging through everything. Through some negotiation, conversation, Ishida and the captain decided to go the same way because they realized it would be beneficial for both of them. And following that, they would eventually come up to some of the remaining rogues that are in the dungeon. There was a battle during which Ishida's dark side came out and Ishida killed everything in the room. Only one person managed to escape, which was the guard captain's aide. And then eventually he would find himself into another room which had a statue or figurine on a pedestal. The moment he removed it, he was burnt by some flamethrowers which he had not observed, and there he lay until the party eventually managed to find and save him. Uh, the party would then eventually make their way through the rest of the dungeon to find Jane's room, and it's only there that they discover the same lady who was sitting, who the party met in previously, who was sitting and communicating with the Shadow Devil or Shadow Demon a couple of sessions ago. I didn't catch her name though. I do apologize.
No one asked it, so no one
No one
caught her
asked
name.
the name. And following some conversations with her, some scavenging around the room, and I think that's where the party left off. Yeah, that's everything. In case I missed anything.
Did you miss anything?
If memory serves, she'd just indicated that there was some potential shadiness going on in the graveyard.
You are correct, and she told you to meet her there this evening. Because it is
At sunset.
yes, at sunset, and you would try and find out what was going on and hopefully catch the kidnapper, child napper in the red-handed. So she teleported out, she disappeared, and you are left in the basement of the Thieves Guild as you are. How would you like to proceed?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
I'm basically I'm going to try my best to stay as close to, God damn, I forgot your name, Lavinia as possible. Just kind of not necessarily follow her around, but try to keep her within about 10 feet of me, while kind of looking around, generally sticking to the party.
Did anybody find the proof that Jane was talking about?
Just about to ask, because I checked Jane's office and I found a few things, but I don't think I found any paperwork. Correct?
Correct, you did not find any paperwork.
So Drax will come back out and say, nothing of the sort we're looking for in there. Maybe back in the other office upstairs.
Then shall we have one more glance around before departing?
If you wish, there was one more, as the woman said, holding cells to the other side, and if all the bandits or guild members escaped in a hurry when the guards came in, there might be a secret exit here or something.
So we still haven't checked this other door, have we?
No.
So are you checking in the door, anyone?
Why not? I'm going to listen at the door first.
Okay, make me a perception check. You don't hear any noise through the door. It's fairly quiet. In fact, it's very quiet.
Shall we check through here?
Yeah. Do you want me to open the door, or would you like to do it yourself?
I don't hear anything on the other side, so it should be safe. I'll open the door.
Okay. There you go.
I'll move forward and check if you don't mind. And then I'll move forward and do just that. I'll check. Is this just another door that I see?
It is, yeah.
Can I put my ear against that door and see if I can hear anything?
Make me a perception check.
15.
No, once again, fairly quiet. Not much noise. In fact, none at all.
After Ladinia comes closer, then I'm gonna try opening the door.
Okay, the door is not locked.
I take it there's no one there in the cells?
No, what you see is 3 small prisoner cells. They're empty aside from chains and dirty straw strewn across the floor. You can actually smell the straw in the air. It's not like dirty, soiled. It's just sort of. So obviously this room is constantly filled with straw because it smells like it. All the doors are unlocked and open and look like they haven't been used in a little while at least. The straw looks fairly clean. The shackles don't look like they've been moved very recently. There's a little bit of dust on them.
Can I just do a quick glance, just a quick investigation, just to see if there's anything that is worth anything? And you know the chains, are they kind of attached to the walls, or are they kind of like manacles just kind of
They
left
are
there?
attached to the walls.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just do a quick glance around, see if there's anything significant or anything
Okay,
that I
make
can
me
pick up.
a investigation check.
Oh God.
No, you find nothing.
Yep. Then I'm gonna go back to Ladinia and say, nothing interesting here. It's just seems it's empty.
Yes, and if anything, this would be the place where they would be storing any captive children. So, slight weight added to that theory. Shall we go back?
Yes, let's go back.
I'm just going to pass on to anyone who's around what we saw through there.
Cool.
I'm in the midst of currently trying to convince Samuel that the boar might be past its best.
But hungry.
I know, but there's plenty of boar outside.
But I have to chase them. It's not here and cooked and smelling nice. I'm a bear. I don't do sell by dates.
If you want to risk it, go ahead, but you'll be the one that has to deal with the consequences.
Fine. You're no fun. And he'll leave the boar alone.
Russell, did you find anything of interest in the other room?
There were some locked boxes, but I didn't want to poke at them. Knowing these sorts, you never know what'll leap out.
Fair enough. Maybe we should head back up and check the other room before we leave.
It wouldn't do any harm, and we don't seem to have anything to do until nightfall.
Lead on.
I will remind you, you have been awake all night. At some point, you'll need to sleep. Just a bit of a DM hint.
Coming from a DM that I'm pretty sure we all know doesn't quite sleep that much.
I do not sleep very much. I run on about 4 hours sleep regularly.
Exactly.
But yeah, so you're going back upstairs.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure only Sheeda and, well, Draxus via his familiar knows about the other office type place. So Draxus will lead the group back round that way. I assume we'd run into the room where the bandits are, well, all the bodies are first.
So, are you leading them all the way back up?
Yeah, pretty much, because I know the way to where Ashida died, and then obviously my familiar would know the rest of the route.
So yeah, we're going to do the journey as if you're doing it. So we're going up another floor again.
So when I'll wait for everyone's token to be on the board.
Yeah, if you want to pull, we're not properly doing it. We'll pretend they're there. It's fine.
Okay. So when we get here, because I won't remember any of this, I'll be like, yeah. I'll put a question out to everyone saying, what the hell happened here? Were you guys here before?
No, we haven't entered this room. Didn't what could have happened?
I don't remember any of this. I don't know what happened here. This is the first time seeing this.
Draxus is going to go over and examine primarily the guard captain, and I think the bandit captain who both died at Ashida's other form's hands.
Sorry, I was having a conversation outside of the game. Can I ask you to repeat what you said?
Draxus is going to go over to the guard captain and the bandit captain and have a look at them and have a look at the wounds Ashida's other form did to them. See what sort of damage he did to them and such.
That would be a question for Ashida, not for Becca.
It would have been. It would have been.
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
No, I just meant obviously he's just done a have an exam to see. Yeah, I get what you meant.
Yeah, so it would have been kind of like massive necrotic hand claw mark. So the wounds may not necessarily give off like necrotic energy, but they would have been basically like as if a massive claw just scraped them both.
So so there's like a giant claw scrape mark, but it's less cut, more just like withered away.
Yes, I'm going to say yes. I'll jump in there and say yes.
Fair enough. Draxus will just examine those parts and then sort of have a look at one of the other bodies that you just bludgeoned to death and turn to the rest of the party and say, well, this gentleman definitely looks like Ashida's handiwork.
Sorry, what do you mean?
Well, the bruises to his temple and other vital parts definitely recollect to your fighting style from what I've seen before.
Okay. But I don't remember any of this. I don't remember causing these injuries. I don't remember having this fight.
Do any of the bodies look at all familiar, at least?
Yes, that person does. Pointing towards the guard captain. I met him in the other room. And admittedly had to lie to him in order to get him to help me. Otherwise, I would have been in a very peculiar situation.
Can I get I'll walk up next to Ishida and just start running my hand through the back of his hair, trying to feel if there's a bump out of place or there's a.
Did She'd let you do that?
I mean, I'll be a bit awkward about this. I'm sorry. What are you trying to do?
Oh, I guess no. If you whacked your head, it might explain why you can't remember much.
Make, make,
Sure.
make me an investigation check. Nope, no bump at all. No mark, no cut, no bruise. Obviously, his body is a little bit battered, I believe. A little bit burnt in places.
Singed.
A little bit singed, hair's a little bit burnt, but no bump. Nothing to indicate that memory loss is due to being bumped on the head.
Nope, as a thought, you just tired. Here, have a berry.
Thank you. And this is a good berry?
This is one of my good berries.
So that's 1 HP, and I'm satisfied for the next 8 hours. Cool. Yeah, I'll take it. Thank you.
Just so you know, Godinia is looking mildly concerned about Ashida saying he knew the person, but then doesn't remember what happened.
Noted.
Well, it looks like Draxus pats the pockets and everything and sees a few of the pockets turned down and goes, well, they've definitely been rummaged and looted basically, so not much else to do here. And he'll say, should be this way, I believe, and start heading off through the other room.
Cool. So you basically lead them to the guards then. Not the guards, the office.
Yeah.
Okay, back down we go. This is the problem with multi-layers.
Yeah. Watch everybody freak out in the little room. That looks like the floor's fallen away.
So yep, you all come up to this room that looks like there's no floor. But there are random ball bearings dotted across, seemingly floating in the middle of nowhere. Which Ishida recognises and remembers putting there.
Yeah, I did. Well, I remember coming to this room, and then I don't really remember much from this point on. I remember putting these out because I didn't realize this room had a floor or not until I stepped on it. And then I'll kind of direct them to the room as I remember, because I remember this part.
So you walk into the room and it's exactly how it was left, a little bit rummaged through, some papers all over the place. It's just this tiny little office with not a lot going on other than lots of papers around.
A quick out of character question. When I patted them down, did I find any kind of papers on the guard captain at all?
No, none.
No. Okay. So yeah, this is the other room. I didn't get a chance to explore it myself because, well, the guard was here and I didn't want to encroach too much on them.
Draxus will start going through stuff to see if there's anything of interest, anything the guards might have missed, or anything that might be anything of interest, pretty much.
Cool. Maybe an investigation check. Okay. So you don't find much. It's just mainly accounting and sort of bookkeeping, lists of what they've managed to acquire and what they've managed to sell on, list of random people that they're selling things to. Although you do spot at the bottom of a lot of papers hidden away in a corner a book that looks fairly old. It's very small though.
Pick it up and have a little flip through.
Okay. So on the first thing you notice about the little book when you open it up is that there is the symbol on the front of it. Who saw the ring that was found in the alleyway?
Me and Silas.
So you instantly recognise the symbol on the front of it as the symbol that was on the ring. And then as you flick through it, several details of a ritual are found in the book. It's a bit like a journal, so it's sort of dated. You recognise how this works because you've seen one before, you've seen a journal before, so there's dates. There's several mentions of a ritual, and it seems to get a little bit crazier as the dates come to closer to where you are now. It mentions requiring participants to perform the ritual properly, and it goes from just participants to being strong participants to perform properly, outlining plans of sort of where in the town to get them from, to get these strong participants from, so they won't be missed. And then a final note mentions finally unravelling the mysteries of the ritual, but having to wait until the next moonless night, which you realise is tonight.
Drax will probably just like sit on a box or something and just start like just skimming through for a few minutes, reading all of that.
While he's doing that, I'm going to see if there are any secret panels or hidden areas in the room.
Make me an investigation check.
I'd like to assist Lavinia in that.
Okay.
Just walking around, see if I can feel any unusual floorboards or feel a breeze coming from any of the walls.
There are no hidden panels, no secret levers, no hidden rooms. This is just a little room tucked away. You get the impression it's not used very much. It's a little dusty and dirty, and the paperwork's a little bit unkempt, but you don't know what part of that is the guards rummaging through it earlier and what isn't.
This does seem more like a secondary office than an information hub proper.
I mean, I know they weren't expecting guests, but would have killed them to take a broom over the place every so often.
I mean, it did appear they were looking quite frantically for something, so I do not know. I do not think that a neat approach was going to be an option for them.
I'm pretty sure he meant the guild members.
Guards don't tend to come and leave layers of dust all over your furniture.
Unless they've got particularly bad dandruff, of course.
True.
Right, of course, you're correct. Sorry, my mind was in another place. Apologies. I'll take a step back while you guys explore this. Trying to clear my head a little bit.
In the in the book, does it specify how many participants there should be?
No. Although you get the... It doesn't specify, but it implies only one is needed. But it doesn't specify, so it doesn't say only one is needed. It's just, it only talks about sort of one at a time.
Right. Drax will close the book and get up. Doesn't look like there's anything else here of use, which will indicate more towards Jane being the one, for some weird reason, sending us on a goose chase here. I find that a bit perplexing why she would send us here to just have a rummage around and tit about. But maybe she was hoping the bandits would have dealt with us and got us out of the way, or her little traps.
Well, if we've not got any further need to be in here, can I make a suggest that we make an exit?
Agreed. I think from the looks of things, we're gonna have a busy night tonight, so it'd be wise to sort ourselves out to get some rest and get prepared.
How the rest of us feel?
Yes, maybe we should adjourn back to the inn to get some rest so we'll be prepared for the. We have been awake for quite some time.
Okay. So do you make your way back to the inn?
Unless
Yeah.
anybody has a better idea or anything else we need to do.
If Draxus starts heading back to the inn, but if everybody heads to the inn, Draxus will veer off and head to the Swiftfoot Crier to get some supplies and then head back to the inn.
Okay.
I've got a couple of errands I should do. Actually, Drexis, once you've done your business, could you meet me at that alchemist shop?
If I'm correct, we'll be heading past it anyway on our way back to the tavern, so we can drop in there together.
Sounds like a good idea. Just I got the seeds he was after for his potions, so you know magic a bit.
Oh, wonderful. That will, well, it will definitely help him, and with the deal we made, it will definitely help us in the future.
Right, I'll meet you later. I'm going to head out away from the group a bit,
Mhm.
and I'm going to head to I'm going to try and head to the grove of my favorite briarling.
Okay. We're just here because I just feel like being here. We're out of the dungeon now. So we've got Drax is going to the Swiftfoot Crier. We've got Russell going to his friend the Briarling. Anyone else going anywhere else?
I'm going to make sure that that you and the Sheila are going back to the end to get some time just to talk.
Okay.
And I'll go with Latinia.
Perfect. So we will start with Russell, if that's okay.
Right, Samuel. So this is what they call the sky. As you can see, it's nice and colourful.
It's blue. It's very high up. Can I get up there?
No, no, no. You want to be down here, where there's a lot of, as you can see, these two-legged things. These are people. You want to stay away from them for the most part.
I know what they are. They kept me in a cage, called me stupid.
Well, now you can tell them that you're called Samuel.
I don't think they speak bear. They're not like you.
Well, some of them, you'd be surprised. There's a couple of people that can. So if you're ever in a dreadful situation, be cautious. But if you see some of us wandering about the woods, some of us are friendly.
I'll see. I'm not sure I trust anyone. We'll see. And he'll follow you as you sort of walk towards your little grove patch.
I'm gonna sort of raise my voice and try and call out for Elmar and Druid.
He will respond in Druidic. He won't shout. You'll just about hear him going, I am in the back. Just mind the snapping vines.
I must ask that you come to me. I'm afraid I've got someone with me who's not very knowledgeable on plants yet.
Okay. Give me a moment. I just need to finish what I'm doing. I will be but a moment. You hear him sort of mumbling a bit to himself. And then you hear his sort of creaky footsteps coming through, and he makes his way over to you. And he goes, how can I help? And he sees the bear and goes, oh! Bear! Where on earth did you find him?
He was caged.
Oh, that won't do. Who cages a bear?
Someone who's soon to be leaving this world, I'll wager.
Well, I would hope so. You can't cage wild things. They don't work very well. That's why potted plants tend to die.
Sadly, he's been in a cage all his life. He has no knowledge of the outside world.
Oh no. Well, you can't let him into wild. He'll never survive. Not without knowledge of how to look after himself.
I was hoping you could help us on that front.
I'm not
You
sure.
have You do have connections to other druids in the area, I assume.
I do. That may be an option. I was believing you were considering leaving him with me for me to care for, but this is not an appropriate place. So close to a town, but I do have a couple of contacts that could come and collect him if you wanted to leave him with me. They live out in the forest. One of them is in fact married to a person very good with bows and arrows who has a bear companion of their own. So that could at least teach him how to be wild, and if he wanted to be free, he could be.
That sounds good. It would also give him a chance I mean, if he doesn't adapt to the wild, this person has already made a friend of a bear. perhaps could make a friend of our dear Samuel here.
Is that his name, Samuel?
It was better than what they were calling him, I tell you that for nothing.
That does not surprise me. Not many people are wild friendly in this town. That's why I'm hidden.
Well, if I could ask you to reach out, start making those calls.
Absolutely, I will get right on it, and you are fine to leave him with me for now. They will not be. It will not take them long to get here.
I'm glad. Oh, Samuel, will you be okay staying with Elmer here?
He looks like a tree. How does he talk? I'm confused.
Things aren't always what they look like, but he's a good friend of mine, and he's got some friends who are going to come, and one of them, as a matter of fact, is very, very familiar with other bears. Perhaps they'll be able to introduce you.
Maybe. Well, but he's a little bit like. So he's he's acting like a teenager, and he's very much like that that sort of teenage kid that is too cool to be kissed by their parents, but actually misses it when they don't do it. So he's a bit like, I feel like I should be going this way, kinda don't want to, but I don't want to seem like I'm being an idiot.
You'll be fine. And like I said, if you ever need me, just ask them to get in touch. They'll be able to reach me, no problem. And like I said, if you need me, just let them to let me know, okay?
Okay, fine. Promise you'll come get
And
me if I want you to.
I'm not the sort of person that leaves a friend when they don't want me to, and I'll sort of scruffle this for a little.
He will roll onto his back as you scruffle his fur. So like he's wanting a belly rub.
I will acquiesce.
And then he will let you do it for about 2 minutes and then act like he never wanted you to do it in the first place and get up and walk over to Elmer.
Alright, I'll see you soon, Samuel.
Bye. Say bye to everyone. Say thank you for rescuing me. Tell Demon Dude not to be a demon.
I'll pass that along. Ta-ta. And I'll lumber off.
And Elmer will nod his head at you as he leaves, as you leave. So, we are over to... Let's go to Draxus next.
Well, it rabbit hunting season. Sorry, couldn't help it. Yeah, Draxus is just literally gonna pop in and see if he can get 200 gold worth of magical transcribing ink and paper. That's all.
He will provide you with what you require without too much fuss and bother. You see he's busy. Once again, everyone, it's early morning, so as you were coming out of the dungeon, the sun was just coming up. Dungeon, what am I called? Thieves Guild. Sun was just coming up. So he's sending all his little minions away with the news for the day. You still see the guy you rescued in the corner, still writing away. It looks like he hasn't left since the last time you were here. He's definitely writing some big story, or what he thinks is a big story. But you get led to the back room, and once again you get given the paper and the ink, and he takes the gold off of you. He goes, nice, thanks for doing business. If you know any news, let me know. like the exclusive, you seem to be definitely doing something odd. Although I do hear you did manage to piss off the guard captain.
Someone I know, not me.
Same difference. Guilty by association, of course. And he'll wink at you.
Well, maybe people should think otherwise. My race has enough problems as it is.
Well, enjoy your writing. Hope whatever it is useful to you.
Hopefully so. Drax will just slightly nod and walk off. And he'll head to the alchemists to meet up with Russell.
Okay.
So I will saunter up and sans bear.
Yes, that is the first thing you notice, Draxus, is that Russell does not have Samuel with him.
Draxus unfortunately really does not care. He's probably already, if Russell wasn't there before him, he's probably gone in, maybe taught a little bit of shop with the owner and had a look at some of the chemicals and some of the ingredients he's got. He would probably pull out some of his tea leaves to see if he's got anything similar or got any other tea leaves he might have.
He'll look at your tea leaves and go, "Oh, I don't have quite that blend, but I do have something very interesting. Not magical, just different to drink. I can go and get you some. Tea leaves, of course. I wouldn't be offering nothing like these kids these days are doing. I'm clumsy enough as it is without doing something that will make me fucking wacky."
At times it's like, I really wish I could be Cloud. That's just like, of course, nods and carries on looking at different things around the shop, stuff he knows, stuff he doesn't know.
So he'll disappear into the back and he'll come out. As he comes out, Russell will be walking in the door and he'll hand you these slightly pink and purplish leaves. And he'll go to you. Leave them in the cup a little bit longer than you normally would before you start drinking. It's an odd combination of slightly sweet tea and slightly not sweet tea. It's really nice, but leave it longer than you think you should, is my advice. Any less than that, and it will taste horrendous.
How much do I owe you?
I do not get many people around here that like to drink tea, so I'm happy to share with someone that drinks tea. It's nice. Most people drink that rotten alcohol stuff. Another thing that if I drink, I become more clumsy. Did you ever think it was possible? As he steps backwards into a broom.
He turns around and goes, "Good trip? You have the stuff?"
Got what I need.
Oh, got what you need. Does that mean you've managed to acquire what I asked you to?
I've got the seeds for that plant you were after, so I can set up a little grow with them for you if you've got some soil and a space that I can work.
Oh, absolutely. Out in the back garden. Plenty of space, plenty of space. Follow me, follow me. And he'll lead you out through the back room, which is absolute mess, by the way, guys. Like, legitimately. You walk through and you're like, how the fuck does he brew anything back here? It's horrid. Not as in dirty, but like everything is everywhere. And he leads you through a little door at the back, and there's a little bit of a garden. It's not huge, but there is a patch in the corner that you can see is growing some freaking random plants. Like, there are some weird and wonderful things back there, but there is a little gap in the middle, and he's like, "This is where I planned for it to go."
Can I take a look at it and make sure that there is enough room, that it's in the correct position for this particular plant?
Make me a nature check. As far as you're aware, you're not hugely confident with the Devil's Maw, but from what Elmer's managed to tell you, this looks like it'd be perfect. There's enough sun, there's enough space, there's not too little space, not too much, it's just about right. Soil looks damp and well cared for, and the other plants definitely seem to be doing well and well cared for, so you have the impression that this little spot here will be okay.
This'll do just fine. Right. I'm gonna start the plants and I'll get them going. I do have a bit of a request of you doing this that I hope you'll be willing to honour.
I can certainly try. What's the request?
I'm gonna get a good patch going and it's gonna seed at some point. Keep a few of the seeds, but put some in a bag and put them in. Where's the nearest one? The tree in the back of the shady spigot. There's a small hollow in there. Put the seeds in a bag and stick them in there.
Ooh, a mystery. I do like a good mystery. I can do that. That's no problem. And of course, if you manage to get them growing and I get them, you get your discount off of my stuff in my shop. No problem.
Just promise me you'll take good care of them. These plants seem to be on the... Well, they don't seem to be doing too well, and I'd like to see more of them.
I promise you I will care for them like I care for the rest of my plants. They're like my children. I wouldn't have my business without them.
Just remember, this one's got a temper on it.
Oh, I am aware of the stories. And when I was trying to collect some in the wild, it was definitely nippy. So I am well aware and have protection ready.
So I will put down some of the Devil's Maw seeds. And I will begin sort of druid crafting them, trying to encourage the growth, basically.
Cool. And you will watch as they take little roots start to grow from the seeds, and then the plant starts to sprout from the top. And you don't get it too far, like it's still going to take a while to actually grow. But you know that's probably going to be good because it'll teach him to properly look after them rather than giving him a full grown one and it being a problem. He's going to be able to raise it from a baby.
All right. It has begun. Give it some time and it'll grow like a weed, I can assure you. No offense.
You hear a little whisper back, "None taken." And he goes, "Absolutely fantastic. I'm so glad you walked into my shop that day. So glad. In fact, you can get your 20% off, that's still no problem, and I will give you one of the first potions when it comes to it."
That is most generous. I think I better get back inside. My friend will be after the rest of your tea.
Oh, it's so rare to find another tea drinker. I'm so happy. Maybe next time you're in town, I'll be able to have some other tea for him to try.
I'm sure he'd love that.
And he walks you back in.
Well, that's that business done.
All sorted then?
Oh yes, all sorted. So happy, so happy.
Wonderful. Well, so we'll definitely be seeing you in the future then.
I look forward to it. I will have more tea. I'm going to do some research now. I found someone else that drinks it.
Always keeps the mind clear, Guess you weren't doing delicate work.
I agree. I always drink it just before starting my potions. It means I'm less likely to screw it up.
Of course. Well, if that's everything, I have some other work to be on with, so. And Drax will nod and look at Russell, see if he's ready to go.
I will give a polite nod and say, have a good day, and leave.
Bye, bye guys. Come back when you're ready. And he'll go back to tripping over his own feet. Is exactly what he does as you leave the room, leave the shop. You hear a bit of a crash behind you. Anything else that either of you want to do on the way back to the inn?
So, you were reading a long time in that place?
Oh, what the... And he'll rustle through his bag a little bit and pull out the book. You mean this?
Yeah. Is it something special?
Seems like a diary of one of the people. Quite interesting. From what I'm guessing, it talks about the ritual they're planning tonight. They need a skyless moon, so that is tonight. And it says about recruiting volunteers or such for the ritual. So,
Are you expecting trouble tonight?
oh, definitely. If not only is this group of, well, supposedly offshoot group of sorcerers, wizards, whatever, are involved, along with members of, well, the head of the local thief guild. We'll probably have some thugs along with some spellcasters, so that's going to be a bit awkward. Plus, taking consideration that the woman that we saw in the hideout invited us to meet her at sunset, but, and he'll rustle around and pull out the note from the other day and go, this one was supposedly from the same woman who invited me tonight, but she did not say anything about it. So a little bit of curiosity of, was it the same person or not?
Curious indeed.
Well, I might as well
Well,
tell you because I'm sure someone will moan if I don't say it to someone. The volunteers are such for the ritual, asking for a strong volunteer. More than likely, saying it in that manner, more than likely are the children that they've kidnapped. But saying it like that, I assume less sacrificial, more something else. Maybe vessels or conduits. I'm not too sure.
I've no knowledge of the arcane, but it sounds unusual. So maybe take a good look at it when we're having a little rest day.
Unfortunately, it doesn't say too much about the actual ritual itself. So, but I'll decipher what I can before tonight. But I have other things to prepare before then. But on that note, have you finished with my book I lent you?
Oh, yes. Right here. Thank you very much.
Of course. out of character, may I ask, would Russell have had a flick through other pages?
He would have flicked through it, but he hasn't had enough. He's been too distracted to really have a good look through. So he's basically just, oh, that looks interesting. That looks interesting.
I will point out that as he probably flicked through other pages, he would have seen other creatures, other humanoid races, and some of the all same sort of layout. Left hand side would be a Da Vinci's man drawing of them. Right hand side would have been a description of the physical and such stats. But you would also note some of the pictures would be a little bit more detailed on the anatomy of the body. You'd see the organs, the bone structure on some.
Whoever drew this was a damn good observer.
I like to learn things, see how things work.
An admirable feat, my friend. Ah, you forgive me, I think I must hit the leaves. Ah.
That's fair enough. I have at least a couple of hours of work ahead of me before I can rest, but the day is still young.
So, Ladinia and Ishida, on your way to the inn, you're probably about halfway there, in the middle of the city square. In fact, actually a bit more than halfway there. When all of a sudden you hear behind you, Lady Ladinia, I'm so glad I finally found you. And you turn around, and Scott the First, if you would like to describe what they see.
Okay, what you see behind you, wearing basic leather attire, with pale blue skin and two what look like pieces of coral, kind of shaped like horns going back the way, with shoulder length, deep green hair, is your messenger. I'm so glad I found you after such a long search. I have something for you.
Do I recognise this person at all?
Make me a... No, actually, no, you don't. You don't recognise this person. You recognise what they're wearing, though. They do have... there is a symbol of your city on the sash they are wearing that would mark them as kind of a messenger.
Kind of place it around the hip and just kind of give a little sort of like boom, boom to the side and go, yep, messenger girl right here.
I address them in Aquan then. Oh, good day. You bring tidings from Miraka?
I just kind of give a bow and pull the letter.
Okay, I take the letter and sorry, what is your name? I would like to know who I'm addressing.
Are you still speaking in Aquan? Because
Yeah.
just gonna stare at you blankly for a second and
Okay, I switched to common then. I do apologise. I assumed you knew the Aquan tongue. May I request your name?
he's gonna cough a little bit and replies back. Oh, sorry. I'm not used to formal protocol, so my name is Cecilia. I've just recently arrived after being given instructions to find you and hand this letter off.
Thank you, Cecilia. I open the letter and read it.
So on the outside, you notice it is addressed to Lady Ladinia of the House of Rust, and it is sealed by your family's wax seal. So your not coat of arms, you know what I'm talking about.
Family crest.
Yes, that's the word. And do you want me to read the letter out loud, or I can send it to you a little bit later when I've written it up, because right now it is in my notebook.
Nope, sure, read it out loud.
Perfect. So let me grab it. Give me just a moment. I was prepared, and then I'm not prepared. There we go. So it goes, "To my darling Lavinia, this is your mother, dearest. I do hope you're having a lot of fun exploring up there, although I do hear some strange goings on up there, but beside the point. Your father is doing wonderfully, my dear. He is working his way up the ranks. We will be so far up there. Of course, once you start properly getting your dreams from Mira, we will be the biggest family in the world. Your brother, on the other hand, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with him? He has recently sent me a message that he would like you to go and see him. He is having some kind of problem with something, but you know how he is, dearest. I think you should focus on yourself, not worry about him at all, and carry on and do our family proud. Love, Mummy, dearest."
Oh, Mother, so good to hear from home. Wait until she hears about ladders. Ooh. So are you staying in the area for a while? I wish to compose a response to give before you leave.
Oh, I'll be around for a few days at least. Anything to be of service?
I have forgotten the name of the inn that we're staying at.
Something seagull. I've also forgotten the name.
The
Ethereal.
ethereal.
That's the one.
I believe there is lodgings available where we are staying. It's the Ethereal Seagull.
Splendid. Then I shall arrange for lodgings and perhaps see you around shortly.
I'll quite happily introduce you to my traveling companions, but I do need to just take a moment with my friend here. I shall look for you after.
Give you a nod and just step aside.
Did Ladinia, she read the letter out loud, right? So I would have heard the letter out and she would have read it in common, right?
She would have read it to herself.
Oh, okay. Anything interesting in the letter?
Just news from home. Good news about my father. The usual news about my wayward brother.
Oh, you have a brother.
Yes, he has turned his back on nobility. He runs a small inn near the sea. My mother wishes me to visit him. I'm sure I shall eventually.
That's quite interesting. I must say for myself, say so myself. I wonder what it's like to turn your back on nobility and
Some people just don't have the respect for the old ways. He is my brother, but he is unusual.
perhaps. But I've found nobility to be an interesting facet of the human world. They treat you differently once they learn of your nobility.
I always found with status comes a lot of responsibility. Trying to live up to that can be difficult. Suppose that is why he may have gone, but those who have much to give after all.
Hmm. In any case, I feel we should be heading back now. Do you not think?
Yes, I do wish to have a small conversation with you. Maybe we could
Oh.
find a quiet table.
No, of course. I guess perhaps if we get to the inn before everyone else, then we can have the conversation there.
Is Cecilia following us to the inn, or is she making her own way there?
Making her own way.
She does.
Meet you when she arrives.
Yeah, she does know where it is. She's been here long enough to know where it is.
Okay, so can we get back to the inn and find a little table in the corner?
Yeah, absolutely. There is. It's fairly quiet. Once again, early morning, so no one really in there. There is. Don't think there's anyone in there. In fact, you are the first customers.
Okay, I'm going to get myself a glass of wine.
The barkeep will look at you and go, starting early this morning?
Continuing from yesterday, it has been a long waking period. How much does that set me back?
That would be a silver for that. And he will give you the wine.
Speaking of money, I feel I do owe you. Think you paid for me the last time or the last couple of times.
Yes, it's just easier to do that sometimes. I was there, I was making my payment, so I covered yours. As I said, I'm sure you can pay me back at some point.
Yes, please do hold me to that.
So yeah, she takes a sip of wine and says, "So, Ashida, I've known you for a handful of days, and you've already lost periods of time here. You say that your memory, you have issues with it. Is this a recurring thing, or is it becoming more of an issue?"
I think this has always been an issue from a young age. My mother used to tell me about once someone has too much exposure to the Feywild, how they begin to lose memory. But she taught me tricks and meditation in order to help stop that, and I didn't have a blackout in many, many years. I do not know why it's begun all of a sudden, but
It seems to be during fights you seem to lose moments. That's the only common theme I've seen so far.
well, I mean, I have always been someone who doesn't enjoy taking part in fights, so perhaps as a result of that. But other than that, I don't know what else I can tell you.
I hope you don't think this is going too far, but I shall be keeping notes just to see if there are any more recurring themes, and also to make sure that if you do lose time, that you have an accurate description of what you have.
No, I would like that. My mother was a cleric herself. I think that's probably why I feel most comfortable with you. It could also explain why perhaps when I'm around you that I don't get the same feelings or the same urges or don't have that many blackouts. But also, as I said before, if you do sense anything, don't hesitate to knock me out. Don't hesitate to pull me down, and then we can go from there.
My skills as a cleric are somewhat mediocre at the moment, but hopefully with more prayer and more divine intervention, I should be able to assist you more.
Hopefully. But I do appreciate you looking out for me. I do understand it's a big task I'm asking you to do.
Think nothing of it. We are becoming friends, and I got to be there as much as I can for the ones I'm close to.
Thank you. Um,
So, tell me more of the Feywild. I'm very unfamiliar with this place, but I've read such stories.
um, to be honest, I've never been to the Feywild myself. I too have only heard stories. I've heard that it's very similar to the human world in that I say human world, but it's very similar to the forest that we get here. The difference is that um, it's more magical, it's more mysterious. Um, Fairies tend to be interesting and in abundance there. Um, they will try to lure you away from your purpose, from what you're trying to do, and they will try to mess with you. But again, that's what I heard from my mother. I don't really know. Um, do you know who might know more than me? Nico, he seems to have an interest in the Feywild as well. I think he said he may want to go there one day.
Yes, he's a very curious gentleman. Some interesting facts have come to light about him. I do hope to get to know him better.
Oh, really? Such as what?
It's not really my place to say, though. Apparently, he has faith, which is not something I had so much pegged him for, to be honest.
Sorry, this autocratic, he has what?
He has faith. He has a belief in a god.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting. But he is a wood elf, so I wouldn't put it past him to have some faith in a deity. There are some elfish folks who are particularly fond of deities and do like to pray. Like I said, my mother was a cleric herself, so
So yeah, that's the thing. All we need to do at the moment. So we're just going to sip her wine and make casual conversation.
Okay. So the first person who walks in the door is actually Celia. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Cecilia.
Cecilia, sorry. Not long after you guys have finished your conversation, unless she had anything to do in town.
No, she just went straight there.
Cool. And then shortly followed.
Then you would wave over in a friendly fashion.
Okay, so Ladinia waves you over.
I just stroll over.
So the town. Have you explored the town? What do you think of it?
It's quaint.
It's rather a small place, but it does seem like it needs the most attention. It's what drew me to it.
Hmm. Though it does seem that you and your travel companions have been busy. I've heard some of the stories already.
Yes, I am traveling with quite a rambunctious group.
Well, if it makes you feel better, Lord Winters has nothing but praise for you all. I just sit at the table with like the hand on the chin.
who's Lord Winters, did you say?
Addison's father.
Oh,
Maybe Addison would have liked a pet bear. Oh well.
Pet bear. I just raise an eyebrow.
We recovered a bear from an underground facility. His name is Samuel, and he is being rehoused thanks to one of my friends.
Charming.
I do believe he would have been an interesting addition to the group. I find I deal better with pets and animals than I do with humans, but he didn't seem to like me.
At that point, Russell walks in with Draxus close behind, hearing Ishida go, "I do better with pets."
Oh, you're gonna get me killed now, Becca? Is that your plan then? I've got like 15 HP.
At this point, Russell probably would not pick that up because he is looking a he looks like basically he has got the weight of the world on his shoulders because he hasn't slept.
But you do notice the little group over in the corner there.
Draxus will possibly notice it a little bit and then lean over to Russell and go, "Do those things multiply?"
Oh, I've no idea. Oh, best go be polite and say hello. And I will stagger over.
Try to keep a straight face as you walk over. And this is more of your merry little band?
Yes, this is Russell and Draxus. Gentlemen, this is Cecilia. She is a messenger from my home.
Small little hand wave. Toodaloo.
I will blurt out hello in primordial.
There's a little Indian just like, what did he say?
Within you is mildly surprised that you will speak that, and she doesn't know the higher tongue.
You'll get Draxus will snigger at that a little bit.
At which point, within you realise she swore an Aquan a few hours ago, and somebody actually understood and blushed slightly.
Oh, sorry. Hello.
Nice to meet you, I'm sure. It's a reminder that I'm lower class, but never mind. Just awkwardly.
I do apologise. I have been awake for quite a while. I think I may need to retire soon.
Do we not need to attend this ritual at night, as I believe some of you were saying?
Yes, but it's rather early in the morning. I think we afford a few hours sleep before that.
Draxus just sort of looks a bit peculiar and just sort of nods and heads over to his table in the back corner again.
I will nip over to the bar, pay for my room for the night, and buy a drink.
Usual for you?
Yes, please.
He will get you as usual. Get you usual. Take the coin from you. You, sir, need to look like need to sleep. What have you been doing all night? If there's a party in town, I'm normally first to know.
Hang on, is someone else talking?
No, that's me trying to remember what my barkeep sounds like.
Ah. Oh, was a busy night. Ah, there was a sick elm on the edge of town. Oh.
Can I approach the barkeep and ask for a separate? Can I approach the barkeep and ask him how much the cost of the rooms and everything is for myself and Latinia?
Sorry, 2 seconds. So he will tell you how much it is. I believe it was 4 gold. Not 4 gold. 4 copper. So room for the night and then food
And
when you wake up.
how much was a room on its own?
Oh,
Not a
we
communal room.
we do not have rooms on their own. We are only a small village tavern. So it's communal rooms only. I'm afraid. Excuse Jason in the background. I've just realised that's who's talking.
Okay, so for 2 people it'll be 4 gold.
Copper.
Oh, okay. I'll give him 8 copper and say for tonight and tomorrow night as well, please. Thank you.
Cool. He will take it, and you know where the room is.
I'll go straight upstairs and find my room and go to sleep.
You mean your bed?
My bed and go to sleep. But I'll try to find the bed that's closest to Ladinia.
Okay.
Yeah, so before heading off, we're going to say to Celia, by the way, I don't know if you have anything you might want to be doing, but we have a bit of a mystery that's going on, and any able-bodied wits around could be helpful. There's supposed to be a ritual going on at midnight. Sorry, at nightfall in the graveyard. As I say, I've been up for quite a while.
Interesting.
Just so you can see more of the surface culture and maybe something even arcane or esoteric. I know it's fascinating for myself. I'm not sure where your interests lie.
Well, it sounds interesting. Perhaps maybe I will just hang around for a little while longer if you'll have me.
But of course, we ladies have to stick together after all.
That we do. I just say a big smile on my face.
And if you'll excuse me now, I am literally about to fall asleep at the table. So I'm going to retire. Excuse me. Then she heads upstairs.
So you find your room, well, your bed, and you notice. Sorry, excuse me. My cat has just sat in the stupidest place. Give me a second. Right, sorry. You find Ashida in the bed next to you. Not in your bed, but in the bed next to where your bed normally is, where you have been sleeping.
Okay, so there's a small smile on her face as she gets herself ready for bed and climbs in to sleep for a few hours.
Also, if you want to see why I burst into laughter, picture incoming. Anyway, so is everyone going to sleep? I assume Scott the First, unless Scott the First has not slept last night.
I would have slept on the way travelling in.
Draxus wouldn't sleep just yet. He'll probably get a few hours sleep later, but he will probably order a couple of, well, reluctantly, but he'll ask the bartender for a couple of cups of tea. He will summon a DM screen to put on his table to block him off. Yep. And with that in front of him, blocking off half the table, he will pull out his spell book, make sure the wrapping around the cover is still on properly, flick it open to identify, pull out the other spell book he has, the integrate band bracelet, sorry, and then he will start his ritual casting of identify with the pearl he's got, and he will scribed through in the air, runic symbols that will take a glow. They will shrink down and lay on top of the pearl, and he'll start to spin it, and he'll have it floating over top of each item and page in turn, about a foot above them. As he takes his hand off, it'll float there. A light will glow down onto the item, and the runes, the symbols on the item that are being identified each turn will glow, and copies of them will flow up into the pearl as a beam of light touches towards his head from the top of the pearl. And it will do that for the next about an hour, I think it will take to do the 4 items he's got.
Yep. Can I ask which one you start with?
He will start with yeah, he'll probably start with the spells first and then do the band last.
Okay.
Bracelet, sorry.
So it's going to take me a moment. I'm going to send you stuff.
As long as he's not a cat on the back of my neck, I'm fine.
The braces, I'm just going to say out loud, they don't have any magical property other than the fact that if you pop them on and you fail a con save, you start turning to gold. So Nico is very lucky that Ladinia worked out that he should not put them on. And then tell me when you're ready and I will tell you what the bracelet is.
Okay, that's a really interesting spell.
Isn't it?
I'll have to have a read through that again in a bit to really understand it, but cool. Yep. And the bracers, you have to make a check every now and then, or you'll turn to gold.
Yep,
Correct?
but they don't do anything else other
Right,
than
fair
look
enough.
pretty.
So, if we can convince someone else to wear them, we can get a solid gold person.
Yes.
Awesome. That'll be a lot of gold. And then just the bracelet.
Okay, so the first thing that this spell that Identify tells you about this bracelet is that it is broken. So Identify tells you that it would normally hold 10 charges, but currently at the moment it can only hold 5, but it doesn't tell you what's wrong with it. And then I will link you the item. It will tell you everything it does, but ignore everything it can do above 5 charges, because it can't do that right now. Okay, so it should now be visible to you. Tell me if it is not.
Nothing popped up. Is it on Roll20 or in Discord?
Roll20.
No, nothing popped up.
In handouts and PC items, you should just be able to click on it, because I didn't want to show all. There should be something new in your handouts PC items tab.
Oh, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Astral.
Yes.
Okay, so it's broken. I can only use up to 5 charges, and I don't know what's broken about it just yet.
But you do know what it can do when it's fully powered. The identified spell does tell you what it can do.
Ah, that's why I can't use. Yeah.
I was waiting for the I fucking hate you. Because he'll now know that he has the ability to do it. Just needs to get it fixed.
No, that's unless I missed something else.
Nope.
Okay, yeah. He will. How long are you doing attunement for? Is it 10 minutes or is it a short rest?
I do a short rest.
Fair enough. And during a short rest, can I only attune to this, or can I do other stuff as well?
I will allow you light activity. Because you don't have to sort of specifically focus on this, but you can't go running, for example.
That's fair enough. Would I be able to start transcribing a spell or two?
I will allow it, I guess.
Awesome. So I will spend the next, probably pushing it a little bit now, but I'll probably go for the next hour to transcribe one of the spells and see where I'm at and attune to this.
Cool. Is everyone else gone to bed other than Draxus and Scott the First?
Yep.
So,
I'm buried in my leaves.
awesome. Cecilia, do you want to be doing anything while he's doing this?
Sort myself out lodgings, go up to the bartender and say, now that I've had to deal with all that kind of shite, can someone get me a good sturdy drink, please?
He will give you a weird look, and then he will go and get you something very strong, and go, that'll be 2 copper. Apparently, no, I'm not going to say it, it's your business. I'm just a bartender, and he'll walk away.
Just go, cheers, love, and just come back to the to an empty chair somewhere and just relax and enjoy my drink before heading up to the room that I've just purchased.
It's not a room. It's the communal room with everyone else. There is no individual room.
But she doesn't know that.
No, she doesn't know that. So yeah, she goes up to the room and finds that it's a communal room. You see Ashida laying in the bed, in a bed next to the other bed that Latinia is in. You see Nico's gone up there as well. I've just decided. Russell is on the bed but covered in a pile of leaves. And there's numerous beds for you to choose as well.
Or just pick one and just take a deep breath and go, oh, I hope it does what it's doing, and then just go to sleep for the night.
For the day.
For a day, for a night. Makes no difference.
Yeah, long rest, that's fine.
Unfazed by the fact that it's like out tight quarters, like, I'm used to this.
So, Draxus, you spend your hour transcribing your spells, so that's 2 hours you spent. You know you've probably got another hour before you really need to go to sleep if you want a long rest, because otherwise any longer than that and you'll be pushing it to make it to where you need to be for sunset.
Yep, I'm just checking the last spell. Are they all first level? Or I'm pretty sure one of them's second level.
2 of them are first, so the 2 homebrew ones are first level and the official one is second.
Yeah. So I would. So I will spend the first hour doing one first level spell, and I will go for 2 hours to do the second level spell. I'll go to bed then and leave the last spell for the time being.
Okay, cool. Just let me know what ones you've learnt so I know
Of course.
I can keep my list correct. Because wizards, yo. Yep, so you all have your long rest. Nothing really happens. You'll get your 8 hours and then wake up very late in the afternoon. Obviously, Draxus wakes up a good few hours later than the rest of you. A good couple of hours later. You do start to worry if he's going to actually get up in time to go and to be where you need to be, but eventually he joins you. Was there anything you wanted to do once you'd woken up?
No, I was just gonna say, because I essentially trance. I'll sleep for about 4 hours, and then I'll wake up and kind of at the foot of Ladinia's bed, kind of meditate and trance for the next 4 hours.
Okay. Not creepy at all. But that's fine. You do that. Do you wake up and move before she wakes up, or do you stay there? And
I'll stay at the foot of her bed, just kind of meditating,
okay, so
like not on the bed, but like on the floor, but leaning against the bed.
dinner. You wake up to Ishida leaning at the foot of your bed, meditating.
Well, first of all, she'd check his bed, see where he is, and
Yeah.
when she's not there, she would sit up and see him at the foot and be relieved that he's not gone missing, more than creeped out that he's sitting at the foot of the bed.
Cool. Yep. Everyone else sort of gradually wakes up, goes downstairs.
Russell, actually, he'll be waking up with somewhat of a start.
Okay.
He's had somewhat of a rough night's sleep, dreaming of cages.
Okie dokie. So yeah, you sort of sit bolt upright in bed, probably at least making Ladinia jump a little, Cecilia stir, and Nico just gives you a fuck you on kind of look.
Grumbling, I will pack up my leaves and head downstairs.
So you all go downstairs. Dinner at this point is brought out to you. Yes, you're all just sitting around the table waiting for Draxus to wake up right now.
Actually, I want to go and check with Doc Flanderbat just to see if any more children have been reported missing or anything interesting is going on in the town. He seems to know what's going on.
Cool. Are you going by yourself, or you invite the others to come along?
I will announce the route that's what I'm going to do, but if anyone wants to go with me.
I'll go with you if it's all the same to you.
But of course.
Alright. So you two head off to Doc Flanderbatch's. It's late in the evening. He's starting to close up shop. There's no children in his shop right now. He's sort of sat at the back. He's just finished tinkering with what he's currently making. And he looks up and goes, "Oh, hello."
Good evening, sir. I just thought I'd drop by to appraise you of the situation. I know you have a vested interest in the citizens and their children.
Oh, of course.
I would be reporting to Arton directly, but we seem to have fallen out of his favour, so yeah. We encountered the head of the thieves, Jane, and she seemed to think that all of this is a massive ruse by Arton himself.
It doesn't seem like Artin. He's certainly been concerned, at least. Seemed it anyway. Come in here, asked a couple of times.
Yes, that seems to be the impression I got from one of the mothers who had a child go missing, that he was tough, fair, but highly understaffed. However, I also didn't feel that Jane was lying either.
I would not trust that one. She does good, but she does not always do good truthfully.
Who stands to gain the most from the poorer citizens being in uproar?
Between the two of them, you mean?
Between the two of them and any other players in town that may have a vested interest as well, of course. I'm trying to find all the information I can.
Well, if there's no one else in town that would benefit at all, really. I guess if we're going between Jane and Artin, Jane benefits the most out of the lower class being in uproar. If the lower class rebel, then they'll put her in power. They tend to cling to anything that gives them hope for a better life. That doesn't mean they have to work for it, and that's kind of what she promises them.
So this is an active promise of hers, not merely something they inferred upon her.
From what I gather, I've never met the woman myself. She obviously doesn't tend to show her face very often. Certainly not around this part of town. But yes, from the children listen, and children hear more than they expect, more than adults expect. From what they've been telling me, she's actively promising a regime change.
Of course. And I can see that the nobles would, of course, not like this, and this puts more pressure upon Arton. Thank you for your insight.
You're welcome. And just to keep you in the loop as you seem concerned, we are currently missing no further children at the moment.
Small relief in these hard times, but I welcome it anyway.
And as you walk out of the shop, he will close the door and lock up behind you.
Okay, so I head back to the end, pondering the information.
And at that point, Draxus will have woken up and joined the rest of the crew, unless anything between Russell and Cecilia, who had been left behind.
I would just be sitting, just like looking around, whistling a little tune to myself.
So, you know Lavinia?
A little more, just a thing in passing, really. We don't. People of her stature don't tend to mingle with people of mine. If you catch my drift.
Drift? We're not in water at the moment. I mean, don't get me wrong, I could probably float if I tried, but...
Looking at you, I'd say, yeah, you probably would, yeah. Eyes rolling ever so subtly.
Naturally, that will go over his head. So, where do you come from exactly?
Oh, just I spent a good bit of time at sea, traveling up north, just keeping along to the coastline. Then, I got called in to go get the little message, and then I ventured so far, and here I am now. What about
A lot of
yourself?
traveling, that. A lot of traveling.
And what about you? And I just kind of sit there with the hands under the face, just like against the table. Where do you hail from?
I couldn't really tell you. I wonder and I wonder and I wonder a bit more. Life on the road.
Ever staying in one place too long?
Places get dull very quickly.
That we can agree on.
So, will you be joining us tonight on this little craziness we're going to be doing, or will you be heading off?
Well, if her ladyship requires my assistance, then I suppose I can make time in my rather empty schedule to hang around and provide assistance if possible. Although I'm not quite sure how, and I'll just give him a little eye flutter.
Well, I'm sure we could do with all the help we need.
So you do seem in a interesting bunch.
Well, better than being a half dull bunch, eh?
I can give you that. It's an interesting crew you've got here. And you have, in a very short space of time, made quite a bit of a name for yourselves.
Well, you do some things, and you're going to make a name for yourself, aren't you?
Indeed. At that point, you can just like through the whole side eyes and get this conversation. You wouldn't mind if I go and indulge in a little drink before we head off? Would you like anything?
Oh, I'm fine. But go ahead.
Great, thank you. Just walk back up to the bar, trying not to give anyone the faces that our conversation was killing me a little bit on the inside. And once again, as soon as the barkeep comes in, he goes, "Hey, make sure you strong shot again."
Of course.
Just flick the hair back, just like.
And he will
That'll
give you
be
your drink.
take a drink. Thank you. Can put on the nice hat again. Leave the coins on the bar and just walk back.
Cool. At that point, Ladinia, Ashida, and Draxus have all joined the table.
Morning all.
So, Doc told me something interesting. Apparently, Jane has been promising a regime change and a better life for the lower classes. Weirdly, this actually makes me think less likely to be her. If it was discovered that she is the one with the kidnapping the children, then she has the most to lose as well as the most to gain.
Um, I will be honest, there is something about someone who hides, who's not forthcoming with their intentions during conversations that irks me a little. I do not personally trust her, but if you guys do trust her, then I will go along with it.
I'm not saying I do, I'm just saying that it seems to be rather a large gamble for somebody, even if it is for massive rewards. The risks would also be terrifying for her, though we have confirmed that Arten seems to be the least likely to be the one in doing this.
Well, at least it's a step in the right direction.
Many answers, but none of the right questions, unfortunately.
I'm just sitting there, just sipping away, acting honest, and just like listening to everyone's saying.
While they're doing that, I'm gonna have another flick through that diary. Does it actually say anything about the ritual or any minor details or so?
Nothing specific. It starts off very vague, like the person writing it doesn't know exactly what they need to do. And then as they start knowing the ritual more, the writing starts becoming more crazy and hard to read and making barely any sense. While you are all sitting there, the door to the inn slams open, and in walks Artin. And he walks up to you guys and goes, I owe you an apology. I lost my temper. I am overworked and apparently need my sleep. However, I understand you've been doing good in the town. Lord Winters has done nothing but sing your praises. I have a problem. Terra Grantham, the mother of the most recent missing child, is now also missing. She was last seen last night going into her house, and then she has not been seen since.
We accept your apology. I do believe our companion was trying to goad you into action and went a little further than was necessary. So mistakes on both sides. We did encounter Terra, and she seemed very distraught. Do you think she may have done something untoward to herself, or just something beyond her ability to handle?
No, she would not have left her little one alone. Even while she doesn't know where they are, she would not have left. She would not have leave the world knowing that there is possibility that her little one would be by themselves.
And her son, is he still at the home, or is he being taken care of?
He's being taken care of. My wife, in fact, is looking after him.
Yes, and obviously she was either taken against her will, or she is trapped somewhere in a situation she's not count upon.
I understand you were looking for the children. If you happen to find them, that would be fantastic. If along the way you could keep your eyes out for Terra.
But of course, if you have no objections, turn to the rest of the group.
You have none for me?
I'm just going with what her ladyship says. I'm just gonna look at Lavinia.
Russell will look up from rearranging his the pouch that he wears containing his components and say, I'll certainly keep an eye out.
Can I inquire, did the missing guard ever return? I'm sorry, we haven't had a chance to follow up on any leads on that side. This has been a more pressing matter. You understand, of course.
Oh, I understand. Unfortunately, we found their remains in the forest. It seems they pissed off a local centaur. I don't know what happened, but the centaur's son ended up losing his life, and the guards lost theirs.
I am sorry for your loss, and hopefully this will not have any repercussions down the line. Do you know if these centaurs are appeased, or if they would need some independent third party to discuss with them?
At this moment, we are allowing them to calm down before we try anything. Griffin's Peak is completely off limits to most people at the moment.
A wise course of action. I would also say that we have learned of something going on in the graveyard tonight. I would maybe, if you have any guards in the area, withdraw them. This would be something that I do not believe they would be able to contend with.
I understand your request, but if I was seen to be drawing guards away from somewhere that there was then, excuse the cackling, then there was then trouble in that area, I would look to have allowed whatever trouble it is going on. I may look like an accomplice. So if you see them around the area, feel free to tell them to leave if you think it will be dangerous, but I cannot withdraw them. I would lose all respect with the town.
Of course, I just thought you should be made aware of the situation, and we may pass on warnings then.
That is fine by me. But I need to get back. With my 4 guards gone and not returning, I'm even more short-staffed, so I'm trying to keep the peace as best I can, but it's not going well. So I am hoping that you guys find the children, sort out whatever is going on in the graveyard, and when you do, come to me.
Might I make a suggestion? You seem to have quite a divide between this part of the city and the lower caste. With the guards being no longer an option, could you not maybe replace them with people from the lower city? Try and get at least a feeling of this is, a camaraderie going.
Normally I do recruit from both upper and lower class when I'm able, but I have been given strict instructions to not replace the guards that the capital has taken, and to just manage as I am. So I am unable to recruit any replacements.
Strictly speaking, the 4 that have been killed have not been taken by the capital. Henceforth, you would be in your right to replace them.
That is actually very good thinking. I will look into that and see if that loophole fits with the instructions as written.
I would say hire the guards, and if the question does arise, use the logic as set. These have not been taken by the capital, henceforth you thought you had the leeway to replace them.
Ah, if only politics worked that way, my dear. But anyway,
I tend it is easy to find forgiveness and permission sometimes.
until finding forgiveness, if you do not find forgiveness, you lose not only your job, your house, but your head as well. I would rather keep mine on. I do not know what would become of this place if there was someone else in charge of the guards. So I will continue doing my best job with my head firmly upon my shoulders. But as you were, enjoy your dinner, and I do hope nothing happens this evening in the graveyard. And he will turn around and walk out of the tavern.
I hope no one minds me speaking on behalf of ourselves. Then it just seemed that I had the least frayed relationship with him.
Your way of thinking kind of works. So if you can get through to him, all's the better.
You grow up in a noble house, you learn the rules of engagement, as it were. So what time of day is it? Is it getting close to the time we should be making a move, or
Yes.
do we have a little bit of time?
The sun is getting fairly low in the sky. You reckon you probably have an hour, hour and a half before you need to be at the graveyard. And you know the graveyard is a good half an hour walk from where you are now.
Okay, I'm going to recast aid. Is Nico with us, or is he missing?
If someone is willing to Jaeger him, if you end up in a fight, I am happy for him to be along. If not, I can come up with a reason why he didn't and then join him in next week.
Any preferences, anyone?
Don't mind either way. I could Jaeger him if you need be, but if you wanna ditch him out,
It'd be easier for me if someone could Jaeger him and we have him in, because then I don't have to bullshit what the fuck he's doing.
I'll take him then. If
Yeah,
it
I
was
was
alright.
gonna say
Have him brawl.
What?
Okay then, I'm going to recast Aid on Ishida, on Nico, and this time on Cecilia. So you all get 5, your maximum HP increased by 5.
There you go, Traz.
Danko.
I have a slight question before we head off. Do we want to be doing this sneaky? Or are we going in brute force?
I would like to think we do it as sneakily as possible, but we don't have Cyrus with, so it's only myself.
Yes. The option of stealth is probably the best one, but also we should be prepared just in case it doesn't go that.
Very well. When we get a bit closer, I can make us leave no trace again, if that's something you want.
I think that would be a good option.
All right, and I will just reshuffle my component pouch a little and try to give it a pat and say, well, I'm ready.
If you just give me a moment, and Draxus will turn to Nico and say something that might help you, and he will start drawing on his chest, write a couple of little runes, and then place his hand there. And after about 30 seconds of drawing and then 30 seconds of holding his hand, as he moves his hand, there's a small little gemstone embedded into his chest as he uses his new gift spell.
Cool. Noted. Anyone else want to do anything else?
Okay, Becca, I'm still not very good on Roll20, so can I just say that I have switched out Sanctuary for Shield of Faith? Because I've got
Yes.
no idea what the actually on my character sheet.
Let me sort it for you, but yes.
Thank you.
So basically the best way I find to do it with clerics and druids, which is how I've done Russell's, is just pop all of the spells on there and then just press, sort of highlight the ones you've got prepared with the red button. But let me add this one. What was it you were wanting added?
Shield of Faith?
There you go. Added.
I believe that's a level 1 spell, isn't it?
It is, yes.
So yeah, swapping out Sanctuary for that because, you know what, I have a banner.
Cool. So any more for any more preparation?
I'll wrap my bandages tightly and just be ready.
Okie dokie. So you all leave the tavern, and it is starting to get very close to sunset. You know you've just got enough time to get there. So you start making your way, and it gets sort of darker and darker and darker, and you arrive there just as the sun sets. I will allow Russell to cast his spell before you get there if you wish.
I will cast it just as we're sort of getting to the graveyard. So I will reach into my component pouch, pull out a handful of a strange-looking pollen, and just throw it behind me. And you watch as our tracks just sweep away.
Okay. So, I will bring you to.
And I will be like 10 feet ahead of the party, trying to be as stealthy as possible, trying to kind of basically kind of show them how they need to do it, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I, of course, have the banner in both hands. I have whispered quickly to Cecilia, but she stays within 10 feet of me. She'll be under its protection.
Yeah, so
Wonderful.
you just see this big red banner. You know what it looks like out of character, so she just sees this big thing that Ladinia's carrying. If you want to drag your tokens to the board.
Do we get to see a picture of how Cecilia looks?
I'm working on it. I tried to look for something, it wasn't quite matching it, so I'm going to have to, if I find time, make one. But for the time being, you'll just see our little token is. We'll have to do.
I would also advise Cecilia that she will need to stay within a certain radius of me in order that she remain under my spell.
So within so many feet of this one, point to Lavinia, and so many feet of this one crossing my arms, I'm like, sounds like a really bad party I went to once. Shakes it off and goes, let's carry on.
I'll ask Nico to stay close to the party, so giving me space to be a bit ahead of them.
Do you want me to drag your token onto the map, Scott the First?
No, I just closed down the wrong thing, so give it a sec. There we go.
Cool.
Do I need to make a stealth check?
You'll need to make a stealth check. I wasn't ready before you started talking at me.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. So everyone that wants to go stealthy, make a stealth check.
Plus 10.
Yes.
Oh god, we definitely need a phosphor trace.
That's amazing. Anyway, so by the time you've got excuse Jason. It is.
Gesundheit.
He put his thumb up to say thank you for the Gesundheit. So it is dark by the time you get here. Sun has set. So those without dark vision cannot see at the moment. But those with dark vision obviously have your specific feet of radius of sight. And what were you wanting to do there, Ishida?
I was just gonna be like 10 feet ahead of the party, just kind of essentially emulating to them how they should be kind of following me or how they should be stealthing. Which with a 24, I would hope they are able to follow me.
You are so stealthed if you're that far ahead of them. None of them without dark vision can see you. In fact, all of them with their passive perception, none of them can see you.
Well, shit. I'll wait for them to catch up, so they're able to see me.
I'm gonna do a very small produce flame, just like a candle flame at the end of my finger, and just kind of. Where'd he go?
Cecilia literally walks into the back of him.
Immediately, I just raise out a hand, and you see, in a wisp of seawater just appear, a cutlass appears.
Yeah, calm down. Calm down.
Careful where you step.
Careful
where
where
you-
you step. But I realize that not everyone can see me in this dark. Assume that I'm always 10 feet ahead of you. And then I'll continue going forward.
Okay, so in this area here, where you have arrived, before you go any further, you see multiple sets of large footprints, sort of freshly laid along the graveyard entrance, going to the northern path. Those with dark vision can see a small building cresting over the surrounding trees at the top of a steep hill to the east. Around about there, where I've just pinged. I don't know if you can see my ping in the black that you can see.
Yeah, I see it.
So round about there, you see the top of a small building cresting over the trees.
I'll point that out to anybody who can't see it.
Does that look like a monastery or a kind of the adjacent house that's usually next to
A graveyard.
cemetery?
Yeah, make me a religion check.
Actually, one of the 4 things a monk is proficient in. 13.
Yeah, so it looks kind of like a small church that you've seen. Like nothing big, fancy, or like anything like that, but it looks like potentially where the sort of ceremony takes place before people are buried.
I'll kind of say that out to everyone.
Do we see the woman we're supposed to be meeting anywhere?
Make me a perception check. No, you do not. You do not spot her anywhere.
Do we have any idea of where this ceremony might be performed? The building up there could be a site of sacred magics, but would it be in the graveyard itself, do we know?
Well, it seems that the footprints are going towards the graveyard, but I would suspect that maybe in the building is where the ritual takes place. Unless, of course, they intend to do it out in the open.
Possibly, but it would probably be wise if we do not go directly, take the path directly into the graveyard. Maybe if we swing around the side and see if we can notice anything of use.
I defer to our mystic expert here. Shall we?
Yes, let's.
Lead the way.
Can I start moving forward? But I want to try to find like a stealthier approach, maybe through the brushes or something.
Unfortunately, you wouldn't be able to make it through the sort of The brush, it's very thick, very overgrown, not well cared for, very hard to manoeuvre through. In fact, it'd be louder for you to move through that than it would be for you to walk through the path. Because of all the rustling and the things you'd step on.
Okay, I'll walk through the path.
Which way are you going? Sorry?
We decided north, no? To the footprints, or do we say to the building?
Head around the outside. So from what I understand, the footprints are following the path directly north. There's a small path to the east that we could swing around towards a building.
Okay.
You said it was on a hill, right?
Yep, it's up a hill.
So we get advantage of a graveyard there at least as well.
Okay, I'll start following that path.
Okay. Okay, so
Do I see anything like around this area because we're on top of a hill?
no, not really. It's hard to see through the trees at the moment. It's very overgrown. The path is very covered.
I will ask plant friends on the ground. We're going to be passing through, but if you please don't snap around my companion's feet. It's they're going to try and be as gentle as possible. Just we're just passing through.
You don't get a response, but you hear a sort of soft, sort of like breeze through the grass. But you know it's not breeze through the grass. It's just sort of a sigh of, okay.
Jaxis will tell Spyro to go up and have a look around. So he's familiar with fly about 40 feet into the air and have a fly around a little bit to have a scout about.
Okay. So make me a perception check with advantage for him, I believe.
Correct.
Okay, so this is what he sees in the air, and pretty much what Ashida would be seeing right now. You see two women dressed in fairly recognisable clothing, just sort of pacing around the building, the small church that's up here, just pacing back and forth.
Do they look at all like the woman we saw in Jane's?
Roll me an intelligence check.
17.
They are dressed similarly, but they don't look like her. So they're not like identical twins or duplicates or magical copies. They are, and they don't look like each other either. They're just dressed fairly similarly.
I'll tell the party that.
I hand Nico the small stone hideout I picked up in Jane's hideout and say, be ready to break this if need be.
What are you doing, guys?
I suggest we go around the back, avoid them entirely.
I just look between everybody and go, well, remind me if what our intent here. Are we trying to just simply are we here for apprehend someone? Are we here to kill someone? Are we here to what exactly is our mission here again?
We were meant to be meeting somebody here. We have appeared to have stumbled upon people of her maybe coven, but not her herself.
I see. Well then,
I think it might even be worth withdrawing at the moment, to see if we can find our guide to the area.
Yeah, she'd watch the two women, see if they react, and Draxus will, via his pseudo dragon, try and communicate with the woman we're supposed to be meeting up with. He can telepathically communicate with a creature within 100 feet of him. So as he flies around, he'll try and communicate with that woman.
And I'll keep an eye out.
Okay. He doesn't feel it connect. Ashida, roll me a perception check. Neither of the two women react to getting whatever Spyro is sending into their heads, or into the woman he's trying to communicate with his head.
Doesn't seem like she's around.
Well, it seems apparent, and although this might be me guessing, whatever we're looking for is inside. Otherwise, why would they be guarding this so closely?
I'll get Spyro to land on the roof to see if they're speaking or anything, saying anything.
Make me a perception check for him. Okay. So as they pass, they're sort of a little bit like soldiers guard. They're not actually they're not marching like soldiers guarding a door, but they're passing each other like soldiers guarding a door. And as they pass, you hear one of them go, "Well, I do hope the others come soon. The ritual is meant to start any moment, and we're stuck up here, waiting for them to come so we can take them to the rendezvous point, or the second rendezvous point." And the other one goes, "Yes, apparently they're running late, who'd have known?" And then one goes, "Do you think Adriana's on to us? Apparently she hasn't been in the coven for the last few days." And the other one will go, "I don't believe so. Her sisters say they've kept things fairly quiet and out of her reach, so... But if she does come, I'm sure we'll be able to deal with her. She might think she's the leader, but she's not doing very well at it." And then they'll sort of pass each other and be out of conversation range. They're not going to start shouting at each other from the other side of the forest.
Yeah. Drax will turn to everybody and say, they're waiting for latecomers. The ritual will be starting soon. I assume probably in the graveyard. They say at the second location.
May I suggest something? Don't know how it will work. And ideally, I would have liked to have Cyrus here with me. If we were to knock those two out and take their robes, we could potentially infiltrate the graveyard without being, well, recognized.
Truth be told, I'm pretty sure I can already do that without even disguise. I can walk straight up to them.
Perhaps if you did, and then the rest of us could attempt to take them out quiet. Perhaps not killing them, but that's up to you to decide.
Sheila, make me an intelligence check, please.
Yes. 11.
Oh, it's fine. You don't realise anything. Carry on.
Now Azusa really wants to know what I missed.
That's all well and good, but it might be an idea to leave them for now. They might, me and Nico head off ahead, I can probably persuade them to allow him to accompany me as my bodyguard. But a whole group of you won't be. I don't think will be possible.
I guess it's up to everyone else what they want to do.
Do you feel secure that you can garner their favour long enough to find out what's going on?
More than likely, I have a couple of tricks up my sleeve that I can use. So if in doubt, we can get out. But I have, and he'll pull out. He's packed the note you stood by from the previous woman. I do have an invite.
Okay, if you want to explore this avenue, the rest of us will maybe check around the graveyard. As you say, a large group would be less easy to pass off.
Of course. And Spyro will keep you informed of what's happening on our end. And Drax will start heading up with Nico just behind.
Okay. So do you look like one of them, or do you still look like yourself?
I look just like myself.
Okay.
Hood up, Nico just behind me, and I start walking straight out of. I sort of maybe go through the brush. Well, wait for the group to move back a little bit, and then head out.
Okay. So the closest one to you spots you first and goes, "Good evening. How may we help you this evening?"
Well, it looks like I might be in the right place by your attire. And he'll pull out the little invite. I bumped into someone dressed similarly to you the other day. She left me this note.
Oh, you have been invited. Fantastic. I do not believe you are who we are waiting for, so we will need to stay here. But we can certainly give you the directions to the place and the password.
Oh, no, that would be grand.
So, if you go not back down the way you came, but follow this path here, and they point to the north. Go through the graveyard. Do try not to upset the residents of that. And keep following round. You will find a very small building. It is a fair walk, but as long as you don't go in the wrong direction, you'll be fine. And then when you get down there, there will be a very large gentleman and his dog, and the passphrase is terror.
Appreciated. And Draxus will nod his head and start walking past, and he will pass on the directions and the location of where he's going to the rest of the group via Spyro.
Cool. So you all get that message in the head. You know the direction he needs to go and his final destination.
I'll turn to the group and say, we can, I guess, go down the hill and go around the front, or we can maybe try to sneak behind this church and hope we don't get seen. We still have Russell helping us with his spell. What do you think?
Are the two people there moving in any kind of pattern that we can watch and wait for the right time to try and make sure they're not being seen?
Yeah, so they do cross each other at the sort of the peak of the building, the sort of front steps of the building, and then sort of separate out, walk about 20 feet away from each other, and then turn around and walk back again, and they'll repeat that. They keep repeating that.
Would that give us time to sneak past? We
Make
think.
me a. It's gonna be an intelligence check again.
Could I assist with this at all?
You're about 10 feet in front of them, so no. Unless you want to start shouting.
No, okay.
So just straight up intelligence.
Yes. You have no idea. Potentially, maybe, but then again, maybe not. You literally have no clue.
I mean, if needs be, I could always turn into a skunk and go up and spray them.
I'm loath to head back down in case we can't actually access the correct area from the main path.
Then shall we go back down?
I think we may need to risk moving behind the building. We do not know if the path from the main graveyard connects to the correct area through there.
We need to communicate this to the other two then before we do. I'll look at the pseudo dragon.
Yeah, so whereabout is Spyro?
He's probably still on the roof a little bit.
Oh, Spyro's not with us, he's on the roof.
There we go. Pop him on the board.
Thank you. Does Spyro have eyes on us?
Yeah, he probably see. Well, he knows where you were, and he's got 60-foot dark vision.
So yeah, he'll be able to see you.
I'll try to see if I can get his attention using as little signage as possible, basically just to indicate to him, we're going down, tell those two.
I thought you were going behind the church building.
I wanted to try and get Spyro's attention to see if we can send a message to Draxus.
Yeah, if you drop, just sort of wave him over, he'll come.
Yeah, I haven't got dark vision, so I've got no idea where he is. That's the thing. So yeah.
I'll point him out because I can see him.
Okay. I try and like wave at him, see if I can get him to just beckon him over.
I'm just kind of guide him in just with visual cues, just like, okay, he's a bit over here, he's a bit there. There he is.
Okay. Can you try and communicate that we need to know if the path through the graveyard joins up at the other side? We need to know if we can make it through that way, or if we have to try and take this path.
So wait a moment, and then nod, and you'll get a smiley emoji, and then he'll fly off and take a look over the graveyard, see if he can sort of work out because the direction Draxus was given is a building on the opposite side of the graveyard, if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
So, Spire will just take a quick fly over just to have a look. Can they just like cut straight through without any problems, or can they go round another way, or would it be easier for them to try and sneak past
Okay.
round the back of this?
Make me a perception check for Spyro. Okay, so you didn't roll a nat 20, so I'm not revealing the whole fucking map to you. That's good. You get the impression from him, or if you're looking for his eyes, you get the thought that coming round the back of the church would be the easier option.
Then you'll, after a few moments, you'll come back and relay this information, just direct pointing the back of the building this way. Easy.
I think we may need to try and sneak past. If we keep to the wall and wait for them to be in front of the building so they can't see us.
Yes. I would say follow my lead.
I could potentially create something for a distraction. Something to lure them a little bit further away to see if and give us an opportunity to sneak past.
If you
That
have
would be
such a
incredibly
plan.
helpful.
The only problem is they might be less stupid than they look.
We have to try. Ladini, you may want to put away the banner for this.
So yeah, I do my best to stow or at least cover up the banner so the bright red cloth isn't drawing too much attention.
Okay, that's fine. So all make me stealth checks again.
Is Cecilia making the distraction first, or?
Mm-hmm. I will allow the attempt at a distraction.
Well, that's how I get the wee rangefinder up because I could use thaumaturgy to create a noise just down or somewhere about here, just kind of.
Okay.
And I think we should still have pass without a trace, if I'm correct.
Yep. So still all make me stealth checks. What noise are you making over there?
Anything that will probably get attention, probably like some drunkard just kind of like stumbling about in the nearby leaves, just like vocal stuff,
Okay.
just like someone singing a sea shanty or something, just kind of ruffling about in the leaves.
Okie dokie.
Surely the distraction gives us advantage on the roll, no?
No, it does not.
God damn it.
It gives them disadvantage on the perception check. Is how I was
Okay,
going to
because
perform
we've
it.
rolled 2 nat ones.
I know, I could see.
I would like to add that if it looks like they're going to turn in the direction to see Russell, he will use he's got Furball magic on sort of, he's ready to invoke the invisibility of that to make himself vanish.
You guys are so lucky. You guys are so lucky. They rolled a nat 1 on their perception check, so you just. So basically, you get sort of, they start walking towards this drunkard they can hear singing in the background. You guys get to just behind the back of the church, at which point Ishida falls over himself and Ladinia falls over him. But they don't seem to notice the noises you make because they're too busy looking for this singing that they can't locate.
Okay. As quietly as possible. Get up, and then I'll have another peek around, see if they've moved, and then just do the rest of the journey, the rest of the distance.
And that's fine. So you all meet up back with Draxus and Nico.
And if a pseudo dragon could facepalm, it probably does.
Oh, believe me, I've done it for him. Just as we're walking by, going, oh, for fuck's sake.
You all get the facepalm emoji in your head, one at a time, from the little pseudo dragon. So, that is the path ahead of you. And actually, if you all don't mind, I'm going to call it there for the evening, because I would like a full team before we carry on any further.
Because shit's about to get real.
Not necessarily, but I would like a full team.
Why, you think we can blag our way through? Do you know who you're working with here?
Potentially. But yeah, so if you're all happy for us to call it there.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
That's fine.
Works for me.
Cool beans. So I will say night stream.
Night stream.
Good night.